sent them along to Director Deandra. I did. I just sent them along to Bill. Yeah. I said, let's make sure we can answer some of these. I have a bunch of other ones too. So. Yes.
Since we can't say anything during those things, I just wanted the chance.
Yeah.
Everybody takes them.
No, that was good.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely fine. Whew. I thought I was going to be late. What? Pardon? I thought I was going to be late, but there was absolutely no traffic. I think everybody's left already for the weekend, if they're going to go. Evening. I think we do. We do. I thought I was going to be late, and we had 10 minutes almost. Good. Sure. Great.
So it just slides in and out really quick, so I think, and when I leave tonight, Jack will take that, so it's not until next week. Or until somebody changes it. Actually, so someone else.
Good evening.
Hey, how are you?
Pretty good, and you?
All right.
Good.
I thought I was going to be late.
I did too.
There wasn't any traffic, like none.
Uh-huh. That's because
Even
everybody's
going
on
out-
vacation.
I know. Even coming out of my garage, and I wasn't paying attention at DU, and it's going to take forever to get out of the garage.
Uh-huh.
There was no one. I'm like, okay.
That's great.
Everyone else went home and through.
That's great.
I may have taken, I did, not may have. I think these were on some for a reason, I don't know, but when I pulled them off, excited. But there were clips on some. Oh. So there was sort of a pile, I didn't know. Look at me, Chris, that'll be fun. Yeah.
Those are done, it's off my list.
It's always like this.
I think it does seem like it's a little dim.
I think it's always dim in here.
Oh, yeah, it's not raining.
Yeah, I always forget that this is back here until I watch. And the other day I was watching some of the tape from the other night, and I was like, oh my gosh, it really looks nice.
It's been that way for a
Do these
while.
go brighter? Do these go brighter? I mean, I just wondered, it seems like there's been times where they might be. Oh, I had a question for you about census. Did the woman contact you in the last couple of weeks about census? Yes. And organizing with the other cities? Do you want us to, I mean, so you haven't met with her. Do you want us to put it on the mayor's manager commissioner meeting on July 19th?
It was the housing authority meeting.
I wasn't time.
Good.
Oh, good. I had a lot of updates.
Yeah.
No. We're not gonna be here that long.
Yeah.
For you to tell me we're done, and I'm thinking, we are? I thought I was gonna be late. But I got here in plenty of time.
Yeah.
So did I didn't leave there until quarter till,
Person
at least for their clock.
Kelly, that's right. Is she kind of organizing all the, okay. Yeah, okay. Responding. Well, then
Good evening.
Good evening, how you doing, Mayor Pro Tem?
I'm doing pretty good, and you?
I'm good.
Good.
yes. It's gonna, okay, great. Oh, yeah. I always talk, don't. MDHI, yeah. Oh, Danielle, you look very baseball-y-ish and professional.
Thank you so much.
Did you go to the baseball game?
I'm going to the baseball game after this.
Starts right now.
It starts after this? Okay. Sorry, you're gonna be
I
late.
decided to,
He was our,
it is what it is, so.
Right.
he's our one quorum away from not
Right.
having quorum.
Fortunately, baseball games move pretty slow.
They move slow, and tonight's the fireworks game, which doesn't start until like 10:30-ish or so.
Yeah.
when-
Oh, the game doesn't start till 10:30?
No, the game
No,
starts
the
at 6. But
fireworks
the fireworks doesn't start until
Stay
like.
late.
We're going to stay for the game, for the fireworks. So.
Fun.
So it should be a good time.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Just you and your son or
My
other?
son, my mom, and then my second cousin.
Fun.
Yeah,
Should be a good
I
time.
think that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Did they go early?
No, they thought about it. They thought about it, but my mom's not great with the apps, because I had to transfer the tickets. She was like, I don't know what the Ticketmaster app is. I was like, just,
Are they waiting at your house?
so they're waiting at my house, yeah.
Is Cheryl here tonight?
No, she's a concert. She's
Okay.
performing tonight.
All right, and Amy's still gone.
Amy's in the. She texted me, said, I saw something on the news. Is it true?
Yeah.
I said, relax, you got on vacation, 'cause you can't do anything.
That's right, I forget.
Exactly 6, I guess.
Assistant City Manager Hargrove, do we not have the, I thought that this would be a copy of the stuff for this meeting. Did we not print that out?
That's the packet. For Monday. I printed out that one thing for you.
Oh, this, oh, so this what you did, but
I did print that out for you.
never mind, this is all I need.
All tonight.
She did it, it's fine.
Well, the only thing I.
No, I
printed
don't
for
need
her
all
was
that
tonight's
procurement
agenda.
stuff, that's fine.
Well, and the, yeah, the packet.
And the resolution.
Yeah.
I will call this City Council special meeting on Wednesday, July 3rd, 2019 to order. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please take roll?
Yes. Member Sierra,
Present.
Councilmember Barentine,
Present.
Member Cuesta,
Present.
Member Martinez, Mayor Pro Tem Russell,
Present.
Member Wink, Mayor Olson.
Here.
We have 5 members present, 2 absent, the 2 absent being Councilmember Martinez and Councilmember Wink.
Thank you, and we have a quorum to hold this meeting. Our agenda item and only agenda item tonight is agenda item 4, emergency purchase authorization. This is authorization for Santa Fe stormwater system damage. Staff recommends and requests council authorize by resolution for a purchase order with American Civil Constructions Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $120,000 for emergency repairs to the stormwater system and surrounding area caused by the pipe failures from July 1st, 2019. And here to present, to begin, is our interim city manager, Dorothy Hargrove.
Thank you, Mayor and members of council, and thank you for taking the time to come out tonight. This is sort of a new procedure for us, and I'll welcome your guidance and comments. Why are we doing this process? The procurement policy that you approved April 1st of this year was accompanied by a request that any emergency purchases be authorized by City Council. The mayor or the mayor pro tem would call an emergency, a special meeting within 24 hours of the emergency, and we would bring forward a request for authorization. The details of this specific request are to meet the needs of the repairs on that southwest corner of Santa Fe and Oxford, where we have, if any of you have gone out there to look, quite a sinkhole. Immediately after that was identified, our Director of Utilities, Tom Brennan, who sends his apologies that he was not able to be with us here this evening, contacted American Civil Constructors, knowing that they had worked with the city and other cities nearby on many similar projects very successfully. They have the size, expertise, reputation of doing an excellent job, and they were able to mobilize and begin taking care of the repairs first thing Tuesday morning. I'm losing track of time here, but it was Tuesday. The estimate of roughly $100,000 to $120,000 is based on some of their past work in these types of incidents. It is not, we do not have detailed documentation that it is going to be X number of man hours at this price and the X number of concrete barricades at this price. It is a best guess estimate based on their staff input in discussion with Utility Director Brennan and his team. So the authorization request before you is for, and we call it a purchase order. It authorizes an expense to this vendor for no more than $120,000. We sincerely think it'll come in much below that, but I wanted to make sure that there was an upside. If it, heaven forbid, rains very hard tomorrow and it delays them, causes any more damage, it's kind of hard to judge, and I didn't want to have to come back again. When the repairs are complete and the vendor is able to finalize a detailed invoice, we will bring that back to City Council, give you the information, and at that point you could authorize the final payment to them. That's kind of the way our procurement system works. With that information, I'll open it up to questions of council.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem wants to start.
Have American Civil Constructors been able to go into the storm sewer and assess the damage yet, or not?
They are just working on that particular hole, but yes, they're very much aware of that. They have ordered replacement concrete pipes to put in there. That's actually one of the advantages of this vendor, is that they have access to those types of supplies on very short notice.
Okay, and I mean, so they have an educated guess of how much pipe it's going to take.
Oh, yes, definitely.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Member Berentine?
It's my understanding that there was an assumption because of the cost of the last two and looking at the budget, what got spent, I believe it was the last one, looks like it cost the storm water drainage fund $60,000. And the number 75,000 has been kind of bandied about, that's kind of hoping that it'll be around there. My only concern, and I don't have a concern about trying to give leeway in there up to the 125,000. My concern is that we at least, the comment that you don't want to have to come back again would be maybe to ask for additional money, I understand, but I would like to at least have an agreement that we would have some parameters to where we would get updates on where we were at between the 60 or 75,000 and going up to the 125, just in case we start to get closer to that number. I would like the council to at least get some regular updates on where we're at and where we are with the spending on it.
Thank you. I think that's a very good idea, and I can do that via email if that's okay with council, and get information via our utilities group and the vendor to get estimates of how much we're spending at one point. Director Brennan said that so long as the weather holds, it looks very promising that the work will be finished by the end of next week.
All right, thank you for letting me clarify that I have no problem with the 125, but just as we go through increments, especially if it looks like we might end up having some more rain and possibly have to push that out, I think it will help the public and us. Thank you very much.
No, happy to do so. Thank you.
I think I just want to remind people we're talking about 120,000, not
Oh, I
125.
apologize.
Just to make it sure. Member Cuesta?
Thank you. The information we were provided stated that American Civil Construction arrived 8 a.m. yesterday morning. They've mobilized equipment and manpower. So how much work have they done? How far into the process are they? I assume we've already incurred expenses with them.
Oh, absolutely. In terms of dollar amount, I could not estimate without additional information. I think what they were doing yesterday, from my understanding, was ensuring the safety of the site. They put up concrete barricades, put steel plating in case it rained to channel any additional water. So they're basically preparing to lay the pipe.
I see. So they haven't been active. It sounds like they prepared the site, but they haven't been actively working since.
Well, but that was a day's worth of work to get that ready to
Understood.
go.
And your understanding is, all things going well weather-wise, by the end of next week, they could complete the repair?
We hope that's true, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Sierra? Any questions?
Actually, my questions have been answered. You answered the timeline and when we expect to get the work done, as well as what type of work has already commenced. So no further questions.
Thank you. Could I have a motion to approve this
I move to
emergency
approve
purchase authorization?
the emergency purchase authorization for the Santa Fe stormwater system drainage.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? Member Berentine?
I appreciate that this is an emergency measure, and we need to make sure that we get this fixed as soon as possible, and it'll cost us less to address this emergency as quickly as possible. And I appreciate that Director Brennan couldn't be here, but I really would like, as soon as possible, for us to have an update on the, not only this one, but Jason Street, and whether all of these are interconnected, and whether, you know, what the bigger plan is here. We seem to have an area that's having continued problems, and it looks like how we've addressed it in the past isn't working, so I want to know that the way we're addressing it now is going to stop any future ones, you know, and how we're doing this. It seems as if it keeps breaking at the points where we fixed it last time, and I don't want to keep going up the line for the 4 that have happened. That's Navajo, and then the 3 on this on Santa Fe. So could we at least make sure that the leadership and the acting city manager, as quickly as possible, schedule for us to get the update, and if we could get provided the budget for, at least from 2009 forward, for the stormwater drainage. I had an opportunity last night and early this morning to look at it for how much money has been spent on capital, what we spent last time, the $1.6 million that we're still paying off. And it's refunding in 2012 because it looks like all of the funds currently being collected for that are going to pay off this debt from 2001. So we need to get a little bit more information on the kind of money we have before we start figuring out how much more money we're going to need and how we're going to get that. So I know you can't do that now because this was an emergency, but if we could schedule that as soon as possible so that we know what we're doing and whether what we're doing now is actually going to fix this problem.
Certainly. I do know that at the study session scheduled for July 8th, coming up on Monday night, this will be touched on tangentially, but we'll try to get that detailed information to council and make it available as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't want to interfere with the meeting on the 8th because that's really important to have some closure for the last emergency last year, but as soon as possible, even if we have to have a separate meeting. I don't want to be spending money that we're creating another problem.
Could I recap your question since 2009?
2009 was when $300,000 was spent, it looks like, on a capital project out of that fund. Prior to that, I'm unable to get the budget information, although I have some at home, but I wasn't able to access that. I do know that we had the bond in 2001, and that came out of the 1999 study, and then that was refinanced in 2012. It looks as if there were no capital projects, capital spent in any of those other years, but then in some subsequent information, it looks like there was. So I just want to get all of that vetted out so we know where we're at with that fund. There was two different numbers thrown out in your press conference, which was $900,000 and then $400,000, and when I've got people asking me, you know, that we're getting different numbers, we just want to make sure we're all on the same boat.
Well, could I clarify that?
Sure.
The $400,000 is from the amount that was approved to be spent this year in the budget. The total amount is closer to $1,950,000. I don't have the exact figure, but we'll get those to you.
Well, I speculated on that it was, you were probably including money that was already approved to be spent.
Exactly.
We need to, that's not what was said during the press conference, so I understand it's nerve-wracking for everybody, but that way we can get it all vetted out. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you for the clarification. We'll be
welcome.
sure and provide that.
Member Questa.
Thank you. For my clarity, I think I was under the impression, as are a few of my neighbors, that the study session on Monday will address the comprehensive Calibre study, which would include the Oxford area. That will be a subject of conversation, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and I understand the concern regarding past budget, but taking that into account, it will also include budget needed going forward with Oxford as well as the other areas that were touched on in that study.
Yes.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? All right, I just wanted to also thank the staff for their quick responses and some of the ways in which I think the media, the responses to the media were very quick. The media was thankful at how much of a response we did have to help people. Seeing Councilmember Barrington, 1 minute.
Touching on what Councilmember Questa just said, Calibre might want to change some of their information because I believe during their study at that time there wasn't a huge sinkhole there, and it may change some of the information that they wish to provide and budget information that they would, or options that they might want to give us. So that might delay a little bit of that information, or at least what they're willing to commit to.
I know that Public Works Director DeAndrea has been in touch with Calibre, so if there are any changes before Monday, I'm sure they'll be incorporated.
I know their site has been down because they've been finalizing their report, but obviously when they did all of the study piece of it, there went a big hole there, so it might change a few things for them, so I would give them the grace for them to have the opportunity to change that, and they may not have that by Monday.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to the staff, and I also want to thank council for being available on such short notice. This is a new plan that we're following, and so I appreciate your willingness to do this. Please vote.
All votes have been cast. Let the record show 5 ayes.
Thank you. The emergency purchase authorization for the Santa Fe stormwater system drainage was unanimously passed. Thank you very much, and we're adjourned. Go enjoy the Rockies.